All right, so this is for the IOE463 class, the Design of Workstation assignment. So we're going to start by making a tote. And this assignment is not really designed to give you, an in-depth understanding of how three-dimensional CAD works. It's really just to give you an idea of how to use the tool to do kind of some of the basic things you might use when designing a workstation. So let's go ahead and get started. This is what you should see when you first open up Fusion. It kind of defaults to a new design. So with that, you can go ahead and start your design. So we'll be building a tote. I'm going to do the tote using surfaces. So surfaces are nice a lot of times when you're working with something where you have more organic shapes or things where kind of solving for a shape may create problems just because the surface doesn't have any volume. So it's a lot easier for the solver to compute, where if you have a three-dimensional shape, sometimes you can run into issues with how it creates the geometries for the volume. So if you go up here and click on the surface marker, you can build from there. So we're going to go ahead and click on Create a Sketch and select the surface we would like to sketch on. So I'm going to go ahead and select this bottom plane. From there, we're going to draw a rectangle and a line. So the reason we're doing it this way is because it allows us to center the rectangle on the origin. So I'm going to hit Escape and then click on that center line, right click, and change it to Construction. And it looks like we can also click X for that. So now we can see it's a dashed line, which means it's not going to be used for creating the geometry. It's just there as a reference. So I'm going to click that line, hold Shift, and then click the center marker. And then I'm going to add a constraint. So I want this to be a midpoint, which is the triangle up here. So now that line is the midpoint. So the left and right side should be equidistant from that, and the top and bottom side should be equidistant from that. So now we need to set the dimensions. So I'm going to come up here where it says Sketch Dimensions. Click on that. Click on the top side. And we're supposed to make this 40 centimeters. So the current units are in millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and say 400 because that would be 40 centimeters. And then use the scroll wheel to scroll out so I can see the whole design. And then it's 40 centimeters by 30 centimeters. So I'm going to select this side and go 300 millimeters. So now all the lines are black, which means it's fully defined. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. So now I have a sketch and I need to create the surface from that. So if I select Extrude, it's going to ask me to select a profile. So I'm going to go ahead and select the sketch we just created. I want the direction to be symmetric. The measurement, I'm going to make a whole length. And distance is 10 centimeters. So 100 millimeters. So this is going to create the edges of the tote. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And if I shift and hold down the center button on the mouse, I can rotate it so you can see kind of the edges of the tote. So now we're going to go ahead and close the bottom of the tote. So to do that, I am going to go to Create Patch. And that is under Modify. no, it's under create and then patch. So now I need to select what I want to patch. So I can see up here the orientation of it. So I'm going to rotate so I'm looking at the bottom of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and select that edge. It's going to follow all the way around and close that surface. So if we look at the bodies over here, we can see we now have two bodies. So I need to combine those into one solid body. So I can use the stitch call to do that. So I'm going to click stitch, select the two bodies, holding shift to select both, and then hit OK. And now you can see it's created body 3, which is a closed box with a solid body. All right, so up next, I need to kind of create the filleted corners on the bottom. So I am going to go to modify, and in the drop down, you can see fillet. Looks like I could also press F. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to select the edge. Again, holding down Shift and the center mouse button to rotate. So I think that is all of the ones I want to create. Let's see. Let me pull up the working draft of the assignment real quick to see what that fillet dimension should be. So it looks like we have 1 inch on them. So I'm going to do 1 inch. So I can, if I wanted to do the units, I could also say, 25.4 millimeters. But because the value is 1 inch, I can also set what the units are. And I want constant radius type. Selected the edges, times the weight, rolling ball. So that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And then I am going to create a lip. So most bins, if you look at them around the top, there's some sort of lip. This helps add structural integrity. So I'm going to make another sketch again. So in this time, I'm going to select the vertical plane. I am going to now create a line. So starting on this edge, I'm going to come out, and then I'm going to come down. So that's kind of the profile shape. I just hit escape to stop drawing lines. So now we can see kind of what the shape of that lip will be. Now we need to set the dimensions. So click on that. Again, so this dimension is 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to say 25 millimeters. And then the vertical distance is 12.5 millimeters. So setting that, and then that looks good. So I'm going to finish sketch. All right, so this next tool that we're going to use is going to kind of draw this shape all the way around. So we're going to come up here and click on sweep. It wants us to select the profile. So that's the shape that we just drew. And it wants us to select the path. So we're going to select this edge here. And it's going to go ahead and draw that. So that looks good. I don't think I want to kind of modify any of these. So that looks okay. So again, we've run into the same issue where you can see kind of the inside and outside of the bodies. So this is kind of a tan color where the bottom is a gray. Here we have a tan color where the top is a gray. So we can kind of see visually that these are two different bodies, but we can also see that up here. So again, we're gonna need to stitch these together. So stitch, and this time in the nav bar, I'm going to select the two bodies, say okay, and now we can see this side is all one color and this side is all one color. So that looks like a tote to me. But if we remember back, this is just a surface, so if we kind of zoom in, there's no volume to this. So to create a volume, well, let's fillet this first. So kind of following the same thing we did before, we're going to go to Modify Fillet and select what edges we'd like to fillet. So I'm going to do this one and this one. The size of this should be 6.2 millimeters. All right, and that looks okay. So now we're ready to thicken. So if we go up here to create, there should be thicken. So right here. So this is just going to then extend that from that surface out and create a volume to the body. So we're going to thicken. We're going to select the face. So I'm going to thicken from this side. We're going to do one-sided. The thickness, let's say 2 millimeters. And this is going to create a new body. Yep, so that all looks good to me. So we're going to say okay. And now when we look at this, it does have kind of some volume to it. So that's okay. There are two bodies now, so we have our surface body and like our volume body, but it's gone ahead and hidden the surface body that we used to create the volume body. All right, so that tote is complete. So now we need to do a few things from there. So we need to save this. So if we hit Control Save, it'll ask for a name. So the naming convention for this class is Unica or Uni. So Pritam, the exercise number. So currently this is exercise 1.1. That might change in the future. Follow the directions for the assignment. And then this is going to be the tote. The location, I'm going to save it in IOE463 and go ahead and hit save. So now we can see that shows up in this left bar here. A couple things that can be useful is Fusion is kind of very much based on online things. So if you want to work on something offline, you can come up here and right click on it and then say add to offline cache. So that way you can work on it offline if you don't have internet access. And then kind of once you reconnect, it'll update what's online. So one other thing that might be useful is to be able to export it. So that way you can upload it to Canvas to submit your assignment. So to do that, in this browser bar, you click on the top level and click on Export. And this allows you to export it as a different file type. For our purposes, just use a F3D file. You can say where you want to save it to. So here I'll just do downloads and save. I'm going to go ahead and remove this V1 from it and export. And that's how you'd export that file. So that way we can kind of take a look at everybody's. All right, well, I think that's it. So I'll see you in the next one.